Welcome to Sailing in the Mediterranean and Beyond podcast. I'm your host. My name is Franz. This episode is about Brad Atkins telling me about his travels in the Abacos in the Bahamas. It's of interest to me because I plan on sailing there next year. And if you are not interested in this sort of information on a granular level on sailing in the Abacos, it may not be something you want to listen to. This is Sailing in the Mediterranean and Beyond, and this is beyond the Mediterranean. I quite honestly wish I was back in the Mediterranean. And if you have any thoughts or comments, please feel free to write me, Franz, and the number 1, Franz1 at medsailor.com. I am on Zoom with Brad Atkins, and Brad Atkins wrote me a few weeks ago and said, "Hey, I've been listening to your podcast, and you seem to be covering a little bit of the East Coast, and I've been sailing up and down the East Coast for a while. Should I come on?" And I said, "Absolutely, since I need to pick everybody's brains that I can, since this is new territory to me." Brad, tell me about your sailing career. When did you get started?
As a kid, I remember my grandfather who had suffered a stroke, like I think before I was born, but he always seemed frail and skinny in the time that I knew him. But which he lived till he was, I was probably 25. But he could always climb on this. We had this little 16-foot Chrysler that sailboat that we would sail on the inland on an inland lake in Western New York, and I have a vivid memory of him and his, I think, Salem cigarettes in his left pocket, running the tiller, and it's kind of teaching me how the sails worked. And so it evolved from that to some Great Lakes sailing when I was in high school and college, and then a break as I lived inland in Georgia, and then when I got to South Carolina about 20 years ago, I got back out on the water again, and so I've sailed my entire life, and very much enjoy it. My daughters began tall ship sailing at they go to an all girls school, or went to. They're out off in college now, but they went to an all girls school here in Charleston that had a wonderful sailing program, and so it's a family event, and now we enjoy doing it at a very leisurely pace on our sailing catamaran that we split time between Charleston during the hurricane season and the Abacos, and then venture out from the Abacos in the Bahamas from November to June. So
Oh,
it's a big part of our lives.
tell me about your Great Lakes sailing. Where were you going to school when you were doing Great Lakes sailing?
My dad was transferred to Cleveland, Ohio when I was going into high school, a little before high school. And so on the far west side, well, about actually, it's not even the Cleveland metropolitan area, I don't think. It was Sandusky, Ohio. And that was a Catalina 27, and then a Catalina something a little bigger. I don't remember what it was, because then I went off to college and that kind of fell by the wayside and until I reached adulthood, if I
Okay.
have.
How old are your daughters, and are they still sailing then?
They are sailing. They're one. I've got two of them, and they are at in college in Dallas at SMU, and one's a freshman and one's a junior.
Okay, great. So I'm
Yeah,
zooming in
and they'll
on
come.
Google Earth right now to there's Savannah and there's Charleston. So I'm zoomed in on where you hang out now. What marina, or where am I? So I'm looking at Google Earth. I see there's a big river going north, and there looks like there's some marinas up there, and there's of course marinas right around the sort of the southwest side of the peninsula, the Charleston Peninsula. Is that
Yeah, so
where
I'm actually across on the other side of that peninsula. There's Patriots Point, and if you're looking from like a Google Earth, you probably see a golf course. But if you zoom in, there's the Yorktown, which is a World War II era
Oh,
aircraft carrier. Primarily
yeah.
saw action in Korea. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm right
Yeah.
there by the red roof.
Okay. So right in that marina.
I'm at the K dock, which they call the kitty litter, which is at the which is where all the catamarans are on the very far end. And let me tell you something: if you forget your car keys and you you realize how far you are from the parking lot.
Yeah, it looks like a big marina, a big marina. Do they have transient slips?
Yes, they do. They do. I don't know how economical they are. But it's most people, what I would recommend if you're a transient is to go where you are looking, which is on the other side of the peninsula, and then you're right downtown, and you can see all the wonderful parts of Charleston and historic Charleston.
Okay. Well, this looks like a real yacht club with a big building and a swimming pool and all sorts of things going with it. Is that right?
No, I wish it was. It's a resort. It kind of was. There was a lot of evolution of this piece of property during the Great Recession, and so it's a little bit piecemeal together. And so it's a wonderful facility, but it's not. I don't have access to the pool. As a marina, as a slip holder. There is a restaurant there. I feel like there's maybe a bar as well that's still open, but it's a little bit fragmented.
Okay. Okay. All right. So you head down to the Abacos. Do you ever go farther on down, or have you just stopped at the Abacos?
No, so usually we kind of make our way to the Abacos going down the East Coast. I've got a 76, 73 or 76-foot mast, so I can't go down the intercoastal. So I generally hug the coast and kind of shoot down to Lake Worth, which is the inlet to, what most people think is Palm Beach, but there's a kind of a pretty big area there. And then wait for a weather window and I'll shoot over to the Abacos. And
Oh,
I'll stay a mooring ball in Hopetown, which is a great facility. It's very economical. I think they can handle boats up to 50 or 55 feet on the mooring balls. And those are great. Those are, I think, $450. I mean, those are $450 a month, which is pretty unheard of. And I will keep that for that entire season and head out from there. And so I do spend a lot of time in the Abacos. I know it intimately, but then we'll also head down through the Eleuthera and into the Exumas, at least once a year for an extended trip.
do you get down to Georgetown? Have you ever been down that far?
Yes. Georgetown Yacht Club is where, or Exuma's Yacht. I can't remember what it's called since it's been rebuilt, but yes, very much so. Also, not a true yacht club.
All right. So I'm zooming in. You hop down the coast. How far do you hop down the coast to then? Do you basically about Fort Pierce or
Yeah,
uh,
West Palm Beach.
West
I go to
Palm
West
Beach?
Palm. Yep.
Okay. So that's
Yep.
where we crossed and went over. So you just hop from there straight over. Do you stop at the Grand Bahamas, Freeport, or anything like that?
Never have. I aim for about a mile south of a marker called Memory Rock, which I let my Navionics expire for this time of year, so
Hmm.
I'm also just looking at Google, but just north of West End, and I get into the Bahama Flats, and then I sail past down on the outside, right in the Sea of Abaco. It's a protected. It can be a great sail if the wind's in the right direction, and scooch right down to generally check in at my name's escaping me, the resort there. Anyway, I check in on the north end of the Abacos Islands, and then kind of meander down to settle in at Elbow Key.
Well, let me ask you a question because I debated on going across those flats, and I have a 5 foot draw. Can I get across the flats in my boat?
Yeah, no problem.
Really? Ah,
I've been doing it long enough now that when I see 11 or 12, 13 feet of water, I'm like, man, we got a lot of depth here. And it's pretty crazy. I don't think I I'm told, I don't see 25 or 30 feet, like I don't think at all in the Sea of Abaco, but 5 feet's fine. I draw four. My alarm's set at six, and my alarm doesn't really go off. I've never really had it go off other than like in close quarters maneuvering, trying to get a mooring ball or set an anchor.
because I look on Navionics and it just does not look safe for me to get across there. But
No.
you're telling me it's okay to get across there.
Yeah, 5 feet for sure. Yes, definitely is. Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
You want to be careful as you cross over. So many people cross over and check in at West End, and then kind of I don't know. My personality, I guess, is such that I like to get into the Abacos. But yeah, those flats are just fine. There's plenty of magenta lines that'll pop up if you put in, 6, 7 feet. I guess, I mean, as your
Okay.
draw, it'll still show you good routes.
Well, that looks a lot. The last year when I came across, I left from Marsh Harbor. Yeah, Marsh Harbor, and
Yeah.
had to go south and went all the way around. And I kept thinking I'd like to go north, but I just didn't feel comfortable doing that. So that's good to know that I could go north because there's a lot of little islands up in that direction
Oh,
that
there's
look like to be
great little
fun.
places. Yeah, I mean, it depends if you're a nature lover or you like, more developed. I mean, nothing's very developed, but um, I mean, there's uninhabited places that are, wonderful. There's good fishing. There's great diving or snorkeling. You could spend a month just kind of banging your way up or down through the Sea of Abaco.
Okay. So you were able to clear customs north there, like in like
I clear
Stranger
customs at Green Turtle Key usually, yeah.
Green Turtle Key. Okay. I'm writing this down.
It's a wonderful place to stop if you want to spend a few bucks having a nice meal, because those are few and far between in the Abacos. And there's a Green Turtle Club, which is great. And you can catch a mooring ball there in Black Sound, which is right in front of it, or you can get a dock. That's one of the places I do splurge sometimes for a dock to get the batteries topped off and load up with some water and it doesn't come that doesn't trickle through the water maker and just relax for a little bit. And there's a wonderful bay at Green Turtle where you grab some fish bait and you just go feed sharks and skates and turtles, and it's a wonderful, it's a great place. I love it.
Okay, I'm zooming in on Green Turtle Key, and I see that there's a sort of an inlet down towards the south end. Is that where you're talking about? You got
Go north to if you go up a little bit north to Green Turtle Club Resort and Marina.
okay, Green Turtle. um, Google Google Earth sometimes doesn't show that, but
Yeah,
Green
it
Turtle
should say.
Estate. Okay, Green Turtle Key, uh, Bluff House Beach.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay, so Bluff House, on the inland side of Bluff House,
okay,
you'll
okay.
see a bay, a bay in there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Now that you're gonna at 5 feet, you're gonna want to enter at within 2 hours of high tide on one side or the other.
Okay, okay. So
Yep.
that
It-
yeah, I haven't ran aground for the last 30 years until last summer I ran aground twice. So
well, I ran aground just south of here, which I'm sure we'll get to. And I thought it was just running into, some sand or whatever. But then when I pulled out to get my bottom job done, I realized that I had done, put a nice ding on my hull and my keel. And that year's maintenance costs were a little more than I wanted them to be.
yeah. How big's your catamaran? What brand is it?
It is a Lagoon 450, which is a
Okay.
very, very, very common. You see them; they're all over the place, and I like that actually. Every time I think about getting a more unique boat, I think that, well, I couldn't be 30 minutes from a Facebook page away, a post away from getting advice on how to fix whatever my problem is. I think there's 1,000 of them, holes on the water, I believe.
I'm just writing I'm putting a mark on my Google Earth so I know where to go and here. Just
I'll send you. So when I entertain folks, I'm in the investment business, and so I entertain folks on the boat quite a bit. And I'll send them a PDF of like what to prepare for and where we're gonna, hey, here's where we can go and pick where you want to go, that type of thing. I'll send you that PDF so that you can look at it.
great. So along the way, do you stop at anywhere before you get here? I mean, I'm sure you probably do stop and
Nope,
overnight.
nope. I
Nope.
usually shoot straight from Palm Beach to from Lake Worth. I shoot straight to Green Turtle and check in.
Okay.
And that is my world in the Abacos is from Green Turtle down to Little Harbor, which is probably which and all points in between, which includes Marsh Harbor.
Okay. And where did you say you picked up a mooring and just left it there for a month then?
That's down in Elbow. So if you go south from Green Turtle,
Mm-hmm.
so Green Turtle has that little bay that that sound area, and that's kind of where I settled in. And so you can, that's the Green Turtle Club and the Bluff House and some beaches, and you can go over to Cocoa Bay and feed the skates and the turtles. And then you can dinghy down to the settlement, which is, if you're familiar with the Bahamas, that's what they call kind of their downtown area. And there's a grocery store and a couple restaurants and place called Sunset, which everybody watches, or Sundowners, which everybody watches the sunsets there, and a couple little bakeries that are kind of neat. And it's funny. There's a memorial um, to the loyalists to the king, which is kind of funny to see as an American. Um, but south of there, then you could keep going to No Name, which is No Name Key has a fairly pedestrian restaurant, but they've got some pigs running on the beach, which is
Hmm. Hmm.
an attraction. And then south of there, you get to Whale Key, and at Whale Key, you can go on the inside if you have the intestinal fortitude to watch your depth gauge go to zero. So you generally go on the outside of Whale Key. So you can get stuck, if that's the right word, or you can't have to wait to get through the Whale Key cut. So you pop out south of No Name and you pop out to the Atlantic and then right back in um, by Great Guana. Um, and Great Guana, that north end of Great Guana is one of the most exclusive real estate developments in the world. It's called Baker's Bay. That's for your, musicians and sports, the even your middle of the road sports stars probably can't afford to live there. It's very nice. And then when you get down to on Great Guana, you get down to what's the name of the inlet there? I went
So it
too
looks to me
far.
like Baker's Bay is a expensive place to tie up, I would guess then.
You have to be you have to be invited to it, and
Ah,
you can only be invited to a day dock, so you got to be out of there.
oh,
If you're lucky enough to know somebody that lives in there, you can be invited to a day dock, but then they kick you out at the end of the night. So you come down and you either anchor in Fisher's Bay or
okay,
you catch a mooring ball there at the inlet there or the sound there that I don't even think has a name, but it's the landmark would be the Orchid Bay Yacht Club and Marina.
okay.
Um, in either way, then you can kind of get into land on your dinghy and explore Great Guana, which really is just drinking and eating. There's not, I mean, it's fun. There's the music. There's Sunday Fun Day is a pig roast. Um, but there's not much to it other than that, and obviously then a great beach on the Atlantic side, which all of these keys have.
Yeah, yeah. I never got that far north last year, so I'm heading back to the Abacos again this year, and basically planning on spending about a month, maybe 2 months in that area. But
Yeah, it's yeah. Well, let's keep going. We'll get down to where I post up.
okay,
So
yeah.
from Great Guana South, you're on the inside of the Sea of Abaco. I mean, you could be in, squall conditions and you've got calm seas and safe sailing. So from there, you go to Scotland Key, which is really just known. It's got an airport for private pilots. There's nothing there that you would really go to other than if you wanted to do some snorkeling, which is really Foul Key is your next island south. And I've anchored there a thousand times,
So
hopped
I'm
in the
looking
dinghy
here,
and gone
Scotland. There's
snorkeling.
Scotland Key, and the next one,
Yep.
there's a tiny little one there. And then there's
Yeah.
another one. There's called what's this called? Man of War Cay. Is that the one you're talking about?
Well, you went too far if you went to Man of War. So if you go
Okay.
back up north just a click or two,
Mm-hmm.
um, Foul Key has
Okay.
amazing snorkeling just offshore. So you anchor and then you take the dinghy around and you know and there's some wonderful coral reefs there that are healthy and vibrant and beautifully colorful with all kinds of fish that I never thought I'd see outside of an aquarium. So that's kind of neat.
Okay. I'm putting a marker on Google Earth. I thought I had, and then it disappeared. Okay, Anchorage.
So Man of War, you saw Man of War is so I think it's a Methodist colony, or I don't know, but it was founded as part of the church, and it has two famous uh, things there. It has the only sail shop in the Abacos. So I blew out a window on my head sail and had to put it on the ferry to get it to, I think the guy's name's Jeff. And then, but the other thing is Aubrey Shipbuilders goes back and they make very, really kind of cool center console boats they have for decades, if not longer. And that's kind of neat. But there's no industry there other than that. There's no restaurants to my knowledge. There's a small grocery store I can think of. But you can go in there and anchor in the harbor. In the case it's a little choppy, and it's a decent place to
Yeah,
to uh, to
looks like
check
it
out once.
looks like it's pretty well protected, and there's a nice big bay
Very
in there,
well,
so
yeah.
you can anchor in there, so it's easy access in and out. Then
It is, yes.
okay. See, I haven't been up to this area at all, so this is all new territory to me. So that's great. So, and it looks like there's a lot of that bay goes all the way quite a ways south on that, doesn't it then?
It does. I've never gone in there on the big boat. I've gone in there on the dinghy.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, but I mean, I know I see tall masts in there, so I know they're drawing, from on monohulls. So I know they're drawing a lot more than I do.
All right. So there's Man of War. Is that worth a stop then or not? What do you think?
It's worth a stop to me to go to the Albury's Boat Builders,
Okay.
factory. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and they're making boats there. I mean, yeah, it's pretty neat. I don't know a lot about motorboats, but I know that those are special.
Okay. I'm putting a mark here. Boat builders.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
So
I see
now
it.
from there, you can head a little west and go into the Marsh Harbor, Sound or Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I spend a ton of time in Marsh Harbor because you fly in and out of there, and you go get the ferry. And it was devastated by the hurricane, but and it's now being rebuilt, so the restaurants are new. I mean, that's when you go. If you need a whatchamadoodle part for your boat, or it's coming from Marsh Harbor if you can get it.
Mm-hmm.
So but it's more transactional to me um, than a place that I would like to stay. But you can also clear customs there, which I
Mm-hmm.
have. Um, and I But anyway, I generally skip that. And if you just look directly then to the east of Marsh Harbor, you see Hopetown and Elbow Key, and that's my home base.
Okay. Directly to the east of Marsh Harbor Hotel. I think that, yeah, that's a neat. So the mooring balls are not that expensive then in there.
$30 a day, I believe, 450 for the month.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Um,
I didn't go in there. I anchored outside of it and then took my dinghy in there
yeah, yeah, sure. And many people
because
do.
yeah, but I rented a golf cart and drove around the island. I liked it. It was one of my favorite stops last year. I really liked
Yeah,
Hopetown.
you're lucky that I mean I've never I mean I have scooters that I get around on a little bit, and I've been there long enough for enough years that I can arrange a car ride, which on the very few cars that are running around the island. But I have every time I've tried to get a golf cart, even the family that owns one of the golf cart rental companies I know pretty well. Their son came to high school in Charleston after Dorian came through and everything was wiped out. And they're like, no, we're full.
I
So
had
you
to
were lucky to
call,
get a
yeah,
golf
I
cart.
had to call every one of them before I found one that had one. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was not easy to find one, but I finally did find
No.
one. Yeah. So that's where so you can moor up, fly
Yep.
home, and then fly back.
Yes.
Ah,
Yes. Robert at the marina will watch your boat for you. And, I mean, I think one time I even said, Robert, I think I might have forgotten to turn the generator off. Would you? And he got on the boat and FaceTime me. So wonderful setup. There's gas there, which is not the least expensive gas in town. Um, but so from that harbor, I can take, there's a shuttle service, so I don't even have to put the dinghy in if I don't want to. I can call the shuttle and they'll take you just about anywhere, but there's three or four set stops, including the marina where you have, the full resort set up there. You don't have to stay there to use it. And then Captain, I'm just going in order here. Captain Jack's has trivia one night and bingo one night and karaoke one night. And then down the island a little bit, heading south, there's a place called On the Beach, which is a very popular restaurant that also has live. They've got bands one night, or a live band one night, and trivia, I think. Yeah, it's a community. It really is. I mean, if I still had a young family and for whatever reason I ended up in the Bahamas, this is probably where I would call home. It's very much a community. It's tight knit, nice people. Um, and probably the highlight that would make I'm just going south. There's another inlet there with Sea Spray Marina and the Abaco Inn, which is another restaurant that's actually, you could say, okay, okay to American standards. Great for the Bahamas. And then at the south end, you've got Tahiti Beach, which is where you may have seen that folks go and tie a anchor at Tahiti Beach, and it's just idyllic. I mean, it's a postcard pictures. It's amazing.
Yeah, I
And
anchored there
across
just
from Tahiti Beach is a pizza joint, which there's not a lot of pizza in the Bahamas. So if you get that, itch for pizza, you can head over there. And all of that I cover in the dinghy with the boat in the harbor.
okay. Well, you got a faster dinghy than I do. It would take me forever to get down in my 2.5 horsepower motor to get down
Yeah,
there.
well,
So,
yeah, you don't want to do that. I was the fortunate recipient of the guy that owned my the original owner of my boat. They went to France to live next to the factory while it was being built, and it's not that you can really influence much because it's a Beneteau. I mean, but it was COVID and they were bored, I think, and he was a car guy as well as a boat, and had been a motorboat. So anyway, so I got with the came with the boat as an 11-foot dinghy with a 40 horsepower engine on the back of it. which I never would have, I don't think I would have signed up for that on the options list, but I got one.
so before you head down there, do you make arrangements for a mooring ball before you head down there?
I do, yes.
So you just, is it called the Hopetown Marina or Hopetown Harbor? So,
So I've gotten to the point where it's a text on WhatsApp, and I do not. I deal with the dock master, because he knows me, and the marina may say, oh, the resort may say, well, we're full. Robert does a good job of working a lot of families. A lot of my familiar boat friends from Charleston spend time there, and so
okay.
he does a really good job of helping out. And so yeah, if you want that ahead of time, I'll introduce you guys.
Probably would. I probably think I'll take my boat over there and sail and then come home for a few weeks and then go back out. It might be easier than trying to go 2 or 3 months at a time. So, yeah, it sounds
Yeah, that's what I do. I mean, I still work, and yeah, so I can go down for I haven't really tracked how long I go down at a time, but more than a week usually. But I've
mhm.
also gone for a long weekend, and at Marsh Harbor, Delta or American, flies right in, and you just take a ferry over. It's pretty it's well, it's not convenient at all. If I was doing that on business, it would be terrible, but it's for the escape that you get, it's pretty convenient.
So can you fly directly from Charleston down there?
No, but I can fly through Miami on American or through Atlanta on Delta.
Okay. So Atlanta is going to be the connecting flight for me because
Yeah,
they have
you're
a
in
hub here in Utah. Yeah.
yes, if you're in Salt, yeah, yeah, yeah. So you go Delta to Atlanta and then Atlanta to Marsh.
Okay. Which is not true. Last year I had clients that came down and joined me in the Exumas, and
Yeah.
they tried to get a one-way ticket into Exuma. Well, they did. They had a one-way ticket. No, this is what happened. They went to get on the flight. They had a one-way ticket, and they would not let them on the flight because they did not
Yes.
have a two-way ticket. So they had to buy another
Yep.
ticket and then cancel it
Right.
as soon as they got down.
Yes. They'll have you buy a refundable. yes. So you pay the full freight for a refundable ticket, and then you get on the plane and you cancel it and get your money back.
Yeah.
So I have been flagged with Border Customs Control, whatever, whoever monitors this. I have been flagged as a frequent enough traveler that somehow I flipped where I don't have to do that anymore. But I had to do that, and my family has to do that as well. So if we're sailing the boat back, my kids will have to book. They'll book, a reasonably priced ticket one way to where at Marsh Harbor, and
Hmm.
then they'll go buy the expensive ticket back separately, and then get on the plane, and then yeah, we get it refunded.
All right. Well, according to Zoom, since we're on Zoom and it's limiting me to 40 minutes, we got 5 minutes more to talk. We may have to come back on for a second
I'm
episode
happy
because
to
I
do
don't
that.
I
Yeah,
don't think we covered enough right here.
we
So
we didn't cover. Yeah, yeah. Well, when we drop, I'll just click back. I think I can click the same link. I'm not sure how Zoom works,
I'm
but
not sure. Yeah, again, I miss Skype and I'm frustrated as can be because this is just not user friendly. But anyway,
y-
so all right, so that's my plan for next year is to go to Hopetown and moor the boat and fly home and then come back. So that might be the
highly
best thing to do.
recommend it. Yeah. I'd highly recommend. That's what I do. And then so then south of there is very much anchoring and then taking the dinghy to a small mooring ball and snorkeling quite a bit until you get all the way down to all the way, keep going. So this is all nature until you get all the way down to Little Harbor.
Hmm.
And Little Harbor is two things. It is Little Harbor, which has Pete's Pub and Art Gallery, and I think the last name of that family is the Johnsons. But the guy, it's a metalwork art, and then that turned into a restaurant and pub, and there's a beautiful beach there. I've got pictures that are just amazing, and it's a very protected harbor. And That's not a bad place to spend some time. And when I say sometime, I think, I get bored after a day or so, but that's also a great hopping off point to then point south towards Spanish Wells and hit Eleuthera and the Exumas.
Okay. So
Um,
last year when we were heading out, I wasn't going north. If I'd known what I know now, I'd probably go north across the flats. But we went south around the southern end of the Abacos, and then northeast over to Free or Grand Bahamas or Freeport,
yep,
and
yep,
then
yep, yep.
and then up that way. So that seemed to be a long trip, but when we were headed south, we were looking for a place to anchor, and the wind was coming out of the north. And I looked at Little Harbor, and I thought that doesn't look very protected for uh, for a
No,
spot.
okay, so when you see where it says where the map says Little Harbor,
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
hold on. Okay, where the map says Little Harbor, that's that Abaco. That's the resort. If you zoom real close in on that little tip
Yeah,
to the
I'm
north.
seeing the bay and I'm seeing Pete's Pub and
Okay.
Gallery, but it
Yep.
still
There
looked
you
to me
go.
like
Yep.
that was going to be pretty choppy in there with the winds
No,
coming
because
out of the
now
north.
in that one with 5 feet of depth, you want to be within 2 hours of higher loads. There's three places you want to make sure you're close to high tide. There's Little Harbor, there's Hope Town, where we
Hmm.
just were talking about, and then there's the Green Turtle getting in and out of there.
Okay.
Um, so as you look at that and you see what looks like, I assume we're looking at a similar image. It looks like a pretty wide mouth into that harbor. It
Yeah,
is,
but it
it is,
looks
it is
really
actually
shallow.
not. Yeah, it's
Okay.
very shallow. So you follow that kind of like the rum line, dead down the center of it, and no, it's real protected in there.
Okay. But you got to hit it at high tide, then it looks to me like
You
then.
want to hit that within a couple hours. Yeah, I tell people within 2 hours of high tide.
Okay. But it looks like you're going to hit sand if you do rub anyway. So,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's nothing gonna. dinghy up too much, except there's one spot just outside of a Great Guana, which is the exact spot I hit. And it's right where the chart said it would be.
You have good navigation then.
It's, you know, what happened is I was loading up the crew, and there was a mega, I mean, I don't know what's a mega yacht. There was a big yacht, I mean, 100+ feet yacht, blowing its horn at a charter cat that was dragging anchor, and there was nobody on board, and it was moving, not fast, but too fast for anybody to do anything but me. So I dropped the anchor back down, I dropped the dinghy in, and I ran over, I just cruised over, I hopped on this charter cat, reset the anchor, got on my dinghy, got the dinghy back up, and in all that fluster, I didn't do a good job of, you know,
Looking where
stopping
you're
and thinking,
going. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I've moved. Where am I now? And so, bam, I went right into some pretty into hardcore. I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, but it was bad enough that it cost me a few bucks.
Was it cosmetic or just, or was it structural?
No structural, no. It was just it went through the gel coat on the went through the gel coat on the starboard heel hull, and my starboard rudder. It damaged it where it hit. They wanted to just kind of rebuild it a little bit structurally as it just because it's your
Hmm.
rudder, obviously. So yeah.
All right,
Um,
we're going to run out of time any second now, and we'll just come back and do another one after we're done. But well, that's the end of that episode with Brad Atkins. Again, Zoom just cut me off. We're going to come back next week with the part 2 of this interview. If you find any of this content valuable and you would like to support the podcast, the easiest way to do it is to go to the website, medsailor.com, and buy some of the audio lessons I've prepared for learning to sail. I have lessons for the ASA 101, the 103, and the 104. The website for sailing in the Mediterranean and beyond is www.medsailor.com. Again, medsailor.com. Life is short. In the end, all that really matters is the memories you make. So make a few. Go sailing.